Hello, cyclocross friends, and thanks for tuning in to episode 356 of Cyclocross Radio. On the show, we're back. We're back in the media pit. We got a lot to talk about, including the first two World Cups, and then also upcoming Cyclocross Nationals for the United States, and just the state of cyclocross in general. And before we get into all of that, once again, holiday season coming up. Perfect time to get yourself that Hammerhead Karoo cycling computer. And okay, here's what we did. We asked ChatGPT.
Oh no.
What? Why this is the better cycling computer? And Boedi, I think it's being honest with us. I don't think it's making stuff up. Best in class map and navigation experience. We already know that. Modern user-friendly interface and display.
Yeah.
Flexibility and ecosystem support. We talk about all the upgrades in firmware that they're always, improving, which you don't get with a lot of tech. I mean, it's like weekly you're updating this thing and adding new features. Here's the one I like. Great for exploration, gravel, touring, and mixed terrain rides. I get that, but I'm kind of curious why it's better on gravel. Let's see here. On unfamiliar,
wider. That's why
unfamiliar routes. It lets you rely less on a phone and more on the bike computer itself, making rides more self-contained and dependable. Because that's all about the spirit of gravel. Anyway, great cycling computer. You should get yourself one. We still have our deal going on for the Karoo. If you go to hammerhead.io, you put the Karoo into your basket, and then you add a heart rate monitor, which you'll want to do so you can get all that data into your basket as well. When you check out, you put the code CX Radio in the little box for codes, and it will take the cost of the heart rate monitor off from your total. So basically, you're getting the heart rate monitor on us here at Cyclocross Radio and also the Wide Angle Podium Network. So that's hammerhead.io. Put your Karoo into the basket, put your heart rate monitor into the basket, use the code CX Radio, and then that heart rate monitor is on us. Do that now. Other than that, we ask you all to go to the Wide Angle Podium Podcast Network homepage, wideanglepodium.com, and follow some other podcasts. This is the time. This is like holidays and family and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know about you, Boedi. Sometimes you need a break. You just need to go for a walk. You can go for a walk and listen to like the slow ride guys, or I saw that Zach and the boys put out a new Nowhere Fast podcast. So
in my queue.
Yep. Go check that one out.
Yeah.
Rob over at Criterium Nation. I don't know. Rob is having an off season. He's pumping out the content.
Yeah, he's dropped news on me about the crit world that I didn't know, so I was happy to learn. So go subscribe to his Substack so you can get that info first.
Yeah. Yep. Do the Substack, get onto the wideanglepodium.com, become a member there. You can help support the shows. I've also been updating the CXR's Bulletin Substack along with Ethan. We both were at the first two World Cups and got some galleries and stories up there, which were worth checking out. So that's cxhairs.substack.com. Boedi, how's it going?
Bill, I'm doing all right. I texted you that I was like, let's record earlier because I have nothing going on.
I know, it's nice. Usually, we get done with these and I'm like, oh, it's the next day. I should probably go to sleep.
Yeah. But Bill, I want to know, how are you doing? I know you were out in the field, might have got an injury. Are you on the IR for Nationals? How are we looking? Do you think you're going to start? Like, how's that? How's the body treating you?
I definitely, I'm feeling it, Boedi. It's the type of thing they always tell you with like rib injuries that it's kind of like when I was playing basketball and everybody would like break fingers and you'd go and you get it x-rayed the first time and they dummy tape it together and send you back on your way. And then after the second or third time, you're like, they're not going to do anything. I can do this on my own. And that's kind of the same thing with ribs. They're like, yep, you did it and it'll just heal on its own. My my wife was not, being in the medical field, was not buying that, so she made me go to the doctor yesterday and get some X-rays to confirm that I did indeed fracture a rib. So,
Ouch.
yeah, those cameras are dangerous.
Yeah, and for people who everybody should who's
Yeah.
listening to this podcast should have read your Substack, but if they didn't, what happened, Bill?
It's kind of embarrassing, Bodie, but but we'll go. So on our way to, oh God, how did he say it? The announcer, Flamanville, the World Cup. It's on the west coast of France, in northern France, in Normandy, and having never been in that part of the world before, Ethan Glading, who lives in Paris, and we drove out there together, was nice enough to say to sort of have some things planned. He was like, "Hey, we should go to Normandy. We should go to the, we went to the American cemetery that's right on Omaha Beach, and walked around there, which was really interesting. Just seeing that part of history in person, and there's still stuff there. There's old German built bunkers, and I went and explored one of those and came out, and much like in the 40s, it was muddy, and I came out of there, and there was this steep decline and descent, and I kind of got it wrong, lost my footing, and came down. I didn't have like all my cameras, I just had my little carry around camera, but I had it in a little bag on my hip, and that's like exactly where I landed. Like that hit, I was like going to brace myself, and before I could get there, I just like bounced off of the very heavy metal lens that stuck itself into my rib cage.
Oh, so your lens gotcha.
Yeah, and that kind of took the brunt of everything.
Oof.
Yeah, okay, the saddest part is I dented the lens hood.
I was gonna ask,
and it's metal, and it's stupidly expensive. So that was like, my ribs will heal.
Yeah,
well, the camera won't.
Well, the lens hood is actually supposed to break, right?
That's right.
That's the part that
the problem. The problem with this one is it's integrated. So. Like I don't know why I'm hiding it. It's a Leica. Like everything with that brand, it's just costs a ton of money. And this will cost a ton of money to fix. It was a challenge sleeping and, sitting up and down and getting around. The nice thing is, like, walking around, I could do okay. So I could still, still okay at the race. This was kind of like justice for you all, because usually I just like to flaunt the fact that I can just like step over barriers and just be on my way. Couldn't do that without a lot of pain. So I was, my height was not an advantage at that race.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad you're doing all right.
But as I also said in my Substack entry, of all the injuries and casualties that happened in that place, mine is the most insignificant. So it was kind of embarrassing to have it happen there. But there we are. So still going to go to nationals, still going to go back to Europe for first period, and hopefully every day it'll feel a little better.
Yeah. All I can do is nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, you were there. You were at Tábor. You were at Flamanville. Let's get into Flamanville.
Yeah.
Huh? I think both you guys had some really good pictures. I enjoyed the reports. I also really enjoy your travel diary, as it will, or the field notes.
I'm kind of trying to find that balance, because I feel like there's reporting out there about the races itself. So it's like trying to add something a little different, I hope.
Well, I think as someone who is a fan of also public transportation and logistics, to a certain extent, but I like the idea that you're sort of breaking down how you get around, and that's sort of always appealing to Americans, right? Who live in places that don't have good public transportation. It's like when you go to Europe, it's like, oh wow, it's €6 to take this train to the airport, and like I don't get a Lyft or an Uber or a cab or sit in the freeway traffic. So just kind of hearing how easy it is, and it is fun, and I enjoy it.
First time around for all these places I've been, first time around, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like, it's super hard. And it was interesting because I was kind of like trying to take a step back and look at this. Like when I was in the Charles de Gaulle airport, I had to take a shuttle or monorail to my hotel for the night. And just finding it was like I followed the signs, and then the signs would just stop, and you're like, I don't know where I'm, and it was just sort of like walking around in circles for a little while, and then I finally found it, and then it was easy. If I did it again, I'd be like, oh, this is the most
Right.
user friendly system out there, because I already know. So that's kind of, that would be my travel tip, is that first time it's always going to be a challenge, but then once you have it, it's like it's super easy. And
are you trying to Google Translate signs with your phone, or how are you sort of navigating?
Most of them will even be in English, you know, and then it's just like figuring out, and it's always like every subway system's the same. You look for the destination at the end of the line, and that's the direction you want to go. But it seems easy until you're looking at the signs. You're like, oh man, I don't know, especially when it's in Czech. But most all of them will have. That was one thing. Like they'll all have, it'll chime in there in English eventually if they're giving announcements. On the French ones, I think it was French, English, and Chinese in the train, which was kind of cool. But then when we went back to the US, I was like, okay, well, let me play that same game here, because I took the train to Dulles, because that cost me excuse me, that cost me $6 versus an Uber, which would cost me, I'm 30 miles from that airport, would cost me $150, or parking would cost me, a couple $100. So $12 for that is just awesome. So and I was like, okay, if we want to find the train from the international baggage terminal at Dulles, I'm looking at it. I was like, I know where I need to go. But if I didn't know where I needed to go, it's impossible to find. It's like one little sign with just an M on it for Metro. You have to know that that's the sign you're looking for. You have to go like down into the bowels of the airport and go on this like really long, moving sidewalk and then another one, and up a hill and through a door. And if you don't know, it's just on this blind faith that you're going the right direction. And then, so I could see where it could be really difficult. But for me, it seems like super simple because I know it.
Well, yeah, and also now you've shared the info, and now I know. Yeah. Now when I go, so
and when you get on the Metro in the United States, in the capital of the United States, it's only in English.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, Tábor was interesting because it was good. It was good racing. It was good to be back there. It was so easy to get around. But
the venue is easy to get around?
The venue, yeah, once we were there.
Was that because of it wasn't Worlds, or just because? Okay.
Exactly. Meaning there were maybe 15,000 less people there.
Yeah. Okay.
So you could kind of go where you wanted. The grandstands weren't there. It was still a respectable crowd, and they still love it. And they do in Tábor and also in Flamanville. People don't stay in the same spot. That's a very Belgian thing. You go there, people just camp out in one spot and they don't move the whole race. But they're also much smaller venues. For here, they move around, which Ethan was pointing this out. It's great because if you want to get to a shot, you just have to wait until all the leaders go through, and then that crowd will move, and then you can sort of slot in there for the next lap, so you can kind of have your spot, because they're not, they're going with where the action is. But as far as trying to be creative and take different shots there, it's difficult. It's difficult after being there multiple times just to find new and interesting things. So then you're more focused on the riders, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you did have some interesting weather. I mean, I watched a little bit of the YouTube of the juniors, and it looked really frosty. And even some of your guys' photos, you could see the light was nice, and there was some cool stuff, and you had some nice shots on the steps at Tábor. I like that.
Yeah, so. And it's interesting just to get into the racing a little bit, because you mentioned the weather and the frost. when I was talking to Andrew Strohmeyer, who had a fantastic race. What he was saying was that it was much better for he had an advantage during the beginning of their race because it started out sunny and a little warmer, and he was able to, like, his whole advantage on that course is that all of the uphills start from zero. Like, you have to go around these turns and you don't take any momentum into the uphill. So he's able, one of his advantages, he's able to just punch it 0 to 60 and get going and get an advantage on it. Once all the diesels, get rolling, they can catch him and pass him or whatever else.
Yeah.
But so that's where he and that course sets up great for him, because that's where he's able to really just pull away from people, or at least keep in that pack, and then they sort of rubber band back and forth. At the end of their race, it started getting colder. The sun went behind the buildings and it started to freeze back up, and he completely lost that advantage. And that's when he was struggling more. I think it was, as he'll say, that was, nothing against the US schedule, but that was like what he would have considered his first real race, because it was just 60 minutes all out. And he's like, even when him and Eric were battling, they were having good, hard battles, but they weren't going that full hour, full gas.
Yeah. I mean, and did he have a mechanical at the end? Did he get a flat, or am I thinking of someone else just like on that last? I mean, because he was up there battling for 6th, or he was in that maybe for 5th. At one point.
I can't remember. I don't think he had a mechanical. He did have to stop for or kind of pull up for a Van Toren out when he crashed.
That's right. Yeah.
But I don't think that was really it. It was just that once those conditions changed, he had that group of like 6 with all those like hitters in it, like Lars and all those guys who just were able to catch him, and then he was kind of put at the end of that group.
Yeah, I mean, really good result for Strohmeyer. 12th place, best World Cup finish. Is that his best Europe finish? I believe so. I think I looked at that. But yeah, I mean, he got a lot of airtime. He's continued to get airtime on the World Cup broadcast on Flow with Ant. Ant loves anybody who's not from Netherlands or Belgium who sort of shows their face at the front of the race.
Did he figure out that it was a Pan Am kit eventually?
I'm trying to remember for Tábor. I think he did he maybe get that wrong at first? I think he called him the national champion, which he is.
Yes.
But I definitely at Flamanville he said Pan Am. So I can't remember for Tábor already. It's already out of my head. But yeah, that was really fun to watch. I watched it kind of way after the fact, so I wasn't able to get to the chat with people, but it was cool. I was yelling, "Go Stro" at my TV to a delayed broadcast, which doesn't mean anything, but it's still fun to do. So, yeah, Go Stro time.
And then at the front of that race, I mean, we were sort of talking about it the last time we recorded, just what was going to happen at the front of this field, and Thibaut was already starting to win those early season races, and now he's sort of showing out here.
Yeah, he's had a nice little run. I mean, I think the conditions, it seemed like the conditions helped, where you could get at Tábor, get a kind of gap, and then sort of you could stay. You weren't fighting for corners, and you weren't sort of like jockeying, and so you could be smooth, no shitty corners. And, had that gap. And then Flamanville, he sort of attacked at a perfect time when Joris had a mechanical. But yeah, Thibaut is looking good. He's such an interesting rider because he's had these flashes of just coming out, winning, and then having, a tougher season. Started a little bit later this year. But I don't know. I don't want to make any predictions, because if I do, he's going to like tank. So, but I'm like, I guess I'm curious to see is like, will he be consistent? Now he's 3 wins in a row.
I mean, yeah. Most importantly, he made it onto the streak list.
He did. Yeah. 3 in a row. Yeah. He's got a streak. So will he like maintain this consistency? Always the top, fighting for the podium, fighting for the wins, or will he have sort of, those stinker races, in the teens and stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't really go wrong here with Koppenberg Cross is always like the Ness family, that's like the goal. Yeah. If you have that last name, you have to win that race. And then, Hame and 2 World Cups. I guess the question is, or what we have to look forward to is how he's going to do when it gets messy. Haven't really had that full on. I mean, Hame was a little bit, but not that full on, just horrible conditions race.
Right, because that's a little bit different of power, a little bit of different engine.
And also he has to go back now and do all the race with all the turns and the dumb courses.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting, right? So pre-race, he's talking about how he loves Flamanville. He said it's smooth. He said, it's a really good track. And he said, every other country except for Belgium, right, makes a great course. No shitty corners, which is interesting to hear as an American when, I think you said this in your Substack, we think of those courses as the best, or the best of the best. And here's the Belgian national champion, the son of one of the best cross races ever, disparaging these courses. And
he likes the flow. He should have come to DCCX. That was like the criticism we were getting.
Should definitely come race in the States. Yeah. I mean, can he come race nationals in Fayetteville?
He needs to enroll in college.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. He should enroll in college somewhere in North Carolina.
Yep.
He could
pretend he was Canadian.
Yeah. Hang out with Neff too as well. Yeah, so Tábor, I mean, what else? We had some good results in the women's field. Lydia Cusack at Tábor, also getting some camera time early on.
Then Kaya Musgrave working her way up there. I think she was the top American in that field by the end.
Yeah. Sharon Van Anrooy coming back. I think that might have been her first race back. Well, we'll kind of seeing her move up the field as it goes. Anything else from Tábor that sort of, I know it's a couple weeks ago, but.
Well, it was interesting, Lucinda looking good. And then Casasola getting second, and you're like, oh, okay, well, here we go. But then she didn't even race last weekend.
Right. Either did Brandt.
Or did Brandt.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Thibaut not going to go to Italy. I don't think Brand is also going to Italy. So these riders, it doesn't seem that far to us. But, even though the World Cup promoters are making, a ton of races, they're still not going to go to all those races. But, I always say that's cool because in Flamanville, we had Aniek van Alphen really show out and win thing for, I think that's her best World Cup result. Really just, she's had a really good season. I think I calculated some stats here for Aniek. Aniek is, let's talk about Brand in a bit, but Aniek, she's got a 92% WAP right now and a 69 OPP. So she's had a strong season. We've talked about other riders who've not been there, Puck, Femme, you mentioned Backstead earlier in the green room, some of these other riders who really haven't shown up. And so I think that's allowed Aniek to show out. And I think she's actually just become a really good racer, kind of won Flamanville from the gun. And, the one thing I look when I watch these races is like, how do they come out of turns? Like, are they getting out of the saddle and putting on the power like the entire race? And she was, and she looked really good. So I think it's cool. I don't know. I have a fondness for Aniek because I remember talking about her. God,
remember that was it like a Swiss Cup race? Remember that one race where it was like it was
Ethias Cross. I looked it up. Is
Ethias Cross? That's right.
It was like 2020, and like where her and Monenbacher were jumping the barriers, and they went 1-2. And then that was sort of that's kind of a lower tier race. She got the dub, and then as she sort of raced the rest of the season, she's been able to get some results, but nothing, like
it's
that.
One of those great stories of just like not giving up on a rider. Like we saw her early, and then we're like, okay, well, she's back in the Rodin shot zone and just kind of hanging out, and then all of a sudden it's like it's not like she's old, she's having this breakout year, which is cool.
Yeah, it's also just like speaks to like the progression of athletes, and like we're so used to them being 19, like especially in road cycling, just like coming out and being a phenomenal. it's like also you can develop over time. You will get stronger, you'll get smarter, you'll learn the skills, and like your body will adapt. And like, yeah, letting riders like get to that stage. And so I don't know. I was stoked for her to get that win. That was pretty cool. Also, I want to shout out to Amandine Fauconnet, who's also had like a really good season this year. She's in France. She's sort of at the front with Anik early on, and then kind of gets dropped, but still fighting. And then we have Alvarado,
So
first race back.
Go back to Amandine a second. She's one that just sort of hides there. Like we don't talk about her. We
Not
never
a lot.
really talk about her, right? But she's top 10, like all the time. She's always like right there. Top 10, top 15, was 10th at Worlds. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I know she races a lot of the French ones, but you know, she's showing up and she's getting results. So it's kind of interesting. It was super cool to see her coming into the finish with a French national championship kit in Flamanville. It's like,
How was that
super
on
cool.
site? The broadcast?
It was just insane. I mean, you could
cool.
hear, you know, just on the last third of the course, it's one of those where you can hear where she is.
Yeah.
Just from the cheers and then the people banging the boards and everything. So yeah, no, that was a good moment.
A lot of talk on the broadcast. So she's on Arkea, and that team is folding. And sort of Ant was kind of telling us about. It was funny the way he was saying it. Was like, hey, you know, it's great. Like she's doing really well, but like she has a lot of pressure because like she has no team and no support. And just like
I think they all have teams already.
Okay.
I just don't think they can say.
Yeah.
Like I know of other riders on that squad who are going places, but they're just not able to publicly announce it.
Right.
I hope that's the case for her as well. I'm sure it is. I mean, she's a talent.
I feel like, yeah. I mean, obviously she's a very talented rider, and
but I think come January 1, we'll see everyone in those new kits.
Ball, we'll see the new kits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to mention Alvarado, first race back, and looked really good. Like, so she had it was a fun battle. She kind of came a little slower start, came from behind, and she was riding back and forth with Fauconnet. And like, you could see that Alvarado technically just really good lines. Just would get gapped in a power section by Amandine, would close it in the technical section. And it was just constantly, and I was just watching that, and
she just has this. She has this calmness.
Yeah,
just rides just calm.
Yeah, I mean she's really smooth, and it's fun to watch. I think she just doesn't quite, you know, first race back. You just don't quite have that endurance. And Amandine's been racing all season, so really cool to see that.
What I didn't see, did anything happen with Van der Heijden?
No.
Just interesting. Yeah.
I'm curious about that. You know, she won Euros, and I don't know. I think that she just maybe had a good day at Euros, and she's gonna. I mean, I feel like she'll be back on the podium soon, but I don't know that she's gonna be a dominating rider and win a bunch.
Yeah, it's also. I mean, it's also kind of cool. You know, we've had. Yeah, I mean, we still have the Dutch dominance. You know, only Fauconnet was the one with the flag going in the other direction. Everybody else was Dutch in the top 6. It's kind of fun because there are different people up there all the time, and maybe that's kind of the same thing that we look at, or historically have looked at in the men before the big 2 come back.
Big 2,
yeah. So
big 1.
I'm really curious to see this. And I was looking, so it's kind of interesting because they're all going to the next. They're all racing next week. Like Lucinda's racing, and
wait, she is.
Yeah, she's on the start list.
Okay, I thought she wasn't.
No, so for Sardinia, Taralba, Sardinia. It's Lucinda, Alvarado's there. You know, Van Alphen's there, Anne-Marie Worst. Yeah, it's a Sheeran's there. It's a good.
Wrong.
It's going to be a decent turn. There's only 33 of them, but the names are there.
Is Casasola going to be there?
Miss Casasola.
I feel like she
better
would.
be.
Yeah, right.
But yes, she is. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, she will be there along with. I mean, half the field's Italian because they get that double allotment.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay, so Tebow
always
is
interesting. Like you have Emma Franceschini, who is 640th in the UCI, who's racing the World Cup for Italy.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's might as
It's
well.
great. Yeah, absolutely. So I went back and looked because we do have these missing riders, as you mentioned. We were talking about it before we started, and the curious one is Fem, because the team hasn't said anything. She hasn't said anything. She pulled out of Koppenberg Cross, went for this training camp, and then just nothing.
Right. I've been wondering about that. And, our Jan has not posted anything in the Slack, so I don't know. Like, I actually, did you look at her social media? I was like, I should do a little digging.
No.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's anything there. Yeah, I've been worried about, I mean, it'll be an interesting season if she doesn't. I mean, the news was so good at the beginning of the year, right? Like we really thought that she was going to come back. I mean, she got her 50th win this year.
Yeah. And it seemed like that was like she wanted to go home to cyclocross.
Yeah.
It seemed like. And then, hey, if she wants to, like I said before, when she wants to come back, hopefully she'll come back and enjoy it. But if not, then,
And there's still time. It is December, but, speaking of December, this is the time Winter Wout, Winter Vanderbilt going to come back. And
even before we get to that, Puck is a mid-December. I think December 14th. What's that? That's
did she announce?
Or
did Alpecin?
There are reports out there that December 14th is when she'll be back. So what is that on the calendar?
Is that Antwerp?
Yeah, would make sense, wouldn't it? Or Namur. Yeah, Namur. She'll be back for Namur.
Okay.
And then the one that I was looking at old photos and I was like, oh, Zoe Paxted. I remember her. She used to race cyclocross and was good. So she, like too many other people, hurt in a training accident, hand, wrist fractures. No.
Did she get hit by a car?
I don't know.
Okay.
She's talking about her helmet being. It just has a training crash.
All right.
Yeah. But hand and wrist fractures. That's not a fun thing to have to race cyclocross.
Yeah. No, not at all.
So her return is delayed. And those are kind of the three that I was curious about. And we really don't, other than Puck coming back, we're not really sure about those other two. And then on the men's side, other than, we are all, of course, it's always a big deal when Wout and Matthew announce their calendars. I think we both were had a nice laugh at one of the comments to Matthew's announcement, and it's like 14 races, and somebody was like, "Wow, that's a big calendar. That's a lot of races."
That's just a dip in the season.
That was like his preseason in the past.
Yeah.
So he'll be back, and him and Wout will go head to head. It'll be really interesting to see. I think both of them are going to come into this in better form. I mean, Vanderpool always does, but I think Wout's going to come into this in better form than we've seen him the past couple seasons for cyclocross.
Yeah, and I heard that Vanderpool was still recovering from pneumonia, or finally had just got rid of the last bit of the pneumonia that had kind of plagued him at the end of the season. So
just fresh air and golf to clear it all out of the system.
Out there in Spain, riding with Freddie Ovett, his riding pal. Yeah. I think that he's had no major crash this year on the road. Right. So he's been relatively healthy, him and his banged up knee. So yeah, and he's I think he's going to race Belgian Nationals. Is he definitely going to do it, or is he got that on? No, he says he's going to race Nationals, Belgian Nationals. So that's cool. So he can win that and then take it, and then we won't see it again. Although, maybe Young. Where is Nationals at? Oh, Barringen. Oh yeah, it's at the B Mine. I was thinking about Wout beating Nyes. No, that was Nyes who Sven who beat Wout at Koksida.
Yep.
Okay.
So you think he's going to turn the tables on Tebow?
Well, yeah, of course, I was trying. Yeah, I was thinking. Or I thought maybe that it was the other way around. So young Tebow was going to avenge his father, but no.
Anyway. It sort of plays the same way. It plays the same way as that last Sven-ness where it was, Wout was just the new kid that was just crushing everything, and Sven was just this washed up guy who was at the end of his career, and had one more fight in him.
Or yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's okay. I'm excited for that now. All right,
Slack heap.
I was missing that race from the beginning of the year, and I was like, why is that not on the schedule? But it's Belgian Nationals.
The other guy that I don't think we're going to see is Tom Pidcock. He has zero plans to race cyclocross. The only thing that we can hope for is that in the future, Andorra decides to have a cyclocross race. Like there should be an Andorra World Cup, and then we'll get Pidcock back because he won that mountain bike World Cup this year. And the only reason why he was there
because he lives there.
He lives there.
Yeah,
just like he could ride to the race.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of pro cyclists do live in Andorra. I mean, I guess a lot of them spend a lot of time in Spain. That's why Benidorm is there. So yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about Lucinda Brand? So her podium streak, I think it's 52. 52 podiums in a row, goes back 2 seasons. Not last season, but the season before that. It's pretty phenomenal.
These aren't even wide angle podiums. These are top threes.
Top 3. I mean, so I think if she does one more, I think she's tied with Boss right now. One more, she's sort of has the streak for the most podiums.
That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty amazing. Like
so she's got a good shot of that in this next round.
And that's the thing. Like I think we've talked this before. Is like even looking at her season last year, right? She was never off the podium. Sort of that's the meat of these numbers is all last season. She raced a ton. It's like the luck, right? Like not having a flat at a really bad time where you have to run to the pit or whatever. Like that really gets you out of the hunt. Like to be that sort of error free for so long. And she's just really kind of, I think on the women's field, I was thinking about this watching Flamanville. Like Brand is really the, back when we used to say this, like she is elite right now. In the women's field, it's Brand on top as elite, top tier. And then everybody kind of below that are the subtoppers is how I see it until, something changes. Like even when Femme was racing, right, she had a couple, she wasn't dominating, right?
Right.
So I think Brand is really, truly sort of kind of I'd say she's the best cyclocrosser in the world right now.
I like it.
Even though she didn't race last week.
Yeah.
But I still think she is.
I think it would be her. I think her only competition is Tebow, right?
Yeah, you can make an argument for Tebow, especially considering he raced. But if Brand comes back next week but
I like that. I think that podium streak definitely. Gives her that edge.
Huge.
Yeah.
And she's she's kind of like I think Lucinda Brand is really one of the riders that she sort of has she's a pretty much complete package rider, in just terms of like the tech, the power, the running.
Which is really interesting because she is one also who we I don't think criticize is right, but we'll comment on that usually in the beginning of the season. It takes her a while to work into her technical skills.
That's true, because early this season, I was saying that she was going crazy. She crashed, and that's how Casasola won. But I think that, it's like, you're right. And she's also a slow starter, but like that has never, in these last 50 races, obviously, has not been a big issue, right? She just warms up fast enough.
She's able to track people down. I know we're jumping all over the place here, but I do want to chat a little bit about that Flamanville podium.
Which one?
Thibaut, Lars, and Cam Mason.
Right. Great.
That's a pretty cool podium.
Yeah, it's great. I think, I mean, yeah, right, because you have sort of the Van der Haar, the elder statesman, teammate of Thibaut, used to be the young guy getting the whole shots. Now he's going to, this is the last season. You've got the Cam Mason, the Brit, which is interesting because Cam Mason, he came up after Pidcock, right? Because he wasn't like, it was Pidcock. It was who are the two other guys?
Is he like Ben Tollett? Is that his
Tollett,
class? And then it was like one other.
Yeah, and then there's another Ben, I think. I should know this because he races road. I'm blanking, but I feel like Cam is a little bit. He's 25. Anyway, I like the fact that Cam Mason is a rider who's really, who's stuck to cross. I think we talked about how this offseason he really sort of like. He mentioned something in some interview how he kind of like he well, I don't know what his word, but he sort of like became comfortable in his own skin or something like that, and in sort of where he was in life and what he wanted to do, or maybe just went all in on cross and sort of, as he said, he put on the weight, built the muscles, and I think we're really seeing the fruits of his labor and sort of that sort of process he's gone through. And also Bill, which is the thing we love to talk about, and the team tactics in that race. And, Cosmo Catalano put out a pretty good video sort of illustrating some of that stuff. And Lars, I think we talk about, is there tactic, is there not? Watching Cosmo's video and then seeing the way that Lars rode, you're like, oh yeah, for sure. Definite. Like that was 100%. He was helping Thibaut out there.
But you were talking about Wout and Thibaut going up against each other, and the same when Wout was the kid and then going against Thibaut's dad. Lars and Sven and the Belgians hated it because he was kind of conspiring with a Dutch rider. They would work together. Like there was always these people mad at Sven because he held off riders to allow Lars to win the overall World Cup instead of letting Belgians pass him and get those points. I forget which year it was, but there's a big controversy about Sven and Lars. So they've always been super tight. So I think it's kind of cool that Lars is, kind of paying it back, but also still having great races. And you see all those tactics. And I think we've talked about it before, but I would be absolutely amazed if next year Lars doesn't show up in the pits coaching or managing some team.
Oh yeah. I feel like, 100%. And you almost felt like he kind of was doing, we talked about
he's kind of like the player coach now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cam
Mason I don't think has had a clean race yet this year.
No.
Yet he is putting in phenomenal. He is, producing phenomenal results. So I think it's just a matter of time. Like he gets a clean one. I think him and Thibaut are going to be battle, or whoever is up at the front is going to be battling with him. And Mason, that's the guy going back to Strohmeyer. And that's, if you read that Wheeler Flitz article, that's the guy that he looks at. He's like, look, a Belgian team gave this guy who's not Belgian a chance.
Yeah.
And he has produced, he got on that, is it just 1-7 now team? And has been able to integrate himself into that system, get that comfort zone and produce those results. And I think that's a big part of it. If just giving these other riders an opportunity to do that. And I know there's an incentive not to want to do that because you want, if you're a Belgian team with Belgian sponsors, you want Belgian riders. I get it, but it's cool that when given the opportunity, somebody like Cam Mason was able to take advantage of that. And I think is going to be one of the best in the world this season.
Speaking of that article and Cam and Stroh, I mean, I think we should talk about Strohmeyer not going to race nationals.
That is correct.
That's pretty
Getting
big.
a lot of messages about this. But people hearing rumors.
So
not
it's
a
funny.
rumor.
I talked to him after DCCX, and he said the same thing to me, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Well, I feel like we're not on the record here, so I won't like repeat it." But he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "I want to get on a team in Europe, and I need to kind of go all in." And
but that's the thing. So that's so look what he's got 2 top 20s. He's got a top 15. He's not racing this weekend. He's training this weekend, and then he'll be back for no more. But at the same time, why take that time, travel back to the U.S., have to race nationals? And it's not have to. I'm sure he would love to race nationals, but at the same time, it's like, what's the incentive to do that versus trying to be able to have a rest week and build and then come into Namur fresh versus going home, trying to defend a jersey that we'll never see because he's the Pan Am champ, so he can't even wear the jersey. And yeah, I kind of like, it you want to race nationals and stuff, but it's at the same time, I think if you have other goals and
exactly,
then you should pursue them.
Right. I mean, so because some people, like I think of Jeremy Powers, right? His big goal was to win nationals, right? It was sort of a big thing for him, and sort of he won early and then trying to get back, and a couple years. He
got stuck into this thing where he had to keep the streak alive.
Yeah, right. And so, but if Strohmeyer, and I think his he's like his tagline is like, you got to do things different, or you can't. I forget. Sorry, Strohmeyer. I know you got a tagline on your Instagram, and I don't know what it is. But the idea that like if your goal, like you've won nationals, you check that
following
box.
The rules.
Yeah. Let's try the new goal, and that's Europe. And why? I mean, like you're young, you're strong.
He's won nationals at every level.
That's true. That's an interesting other box to check, right? You sort of you got that. You don't need to win at multiple times. I mean, like, look, there's plenty of time to come back and win nationals, and yeah, I think that's interesting.
I was chatting with Mark from the Northeast CX Report, who, if you haven't followed that Substack, y'all should subscribe to it. He does an awesome job. I think where I think we had gaps in our coverage for the written stuff, he did a really nice job in the domestic season and has continued. So, go sign up for a Substack. But he was, what he brought up was, he was like, well, Jonathan Page always came back for nationals. And Mark, I don't think that's correct. I think there was many years that Page didn't come back, and that was kind of that huge deal. He came back for Wisconsin, and then he won in 2013, and that was kind of like his last national championship, and it was just this big deal that he came back and did it. He did a lot. Let's see, 2, 3, 4. He skipped 5. He skipped like 3 or 4 years in there. There were definitely gaps. He was definitely there for a lot, but I think that's kind of was the same thinking for him. It also happened in a different time of year, so those were January. Like it's hard to, like, his decision making is going to be different in that era versus now, where when it was in January, where the World Cup was not what it is now. It was not the dominant series. It was not a 12 race series. There were other things to consider. I think now that you are in the heart of the World Cup season and it has just started, and for somebody like Andrew who has these goals of getting on a team and has to be seen by these teams, it does him more good to be racing there than here.
Yeah.
So what does that do for nationals, Boedi?
I mean, that's a really good question. I mean, I think, obviously the two favorites before were Brunner and Stroh. Now that, Brunner has demonstrated being sort of that, maybe just like a click above the other riders, I don't know. Maybe something happens. Maybe Carey, real good day. Maybe he is signed up.
All right.
I don't know if you found a coupon code or not. But also we have, I don't know if we were going to get straight into some national stuff, but we have some other guys, Ivan Sippy signed up in the elite race. I think he actually is elite this year, but I don't know. I feel like Andrew not being there means there's sort of more room to get on that podium. Obviously, if we would assume that Andrew is favored for the podium, but also that means that things can happen too, like anything
Yeah.
can happen in cross. So
I mean, Boulder Cup, he was able to ride away from all of those, all the
That's
college
true.
kids.
That's true.
But no, I think it'll be interesting. It's definitely Bruner's to lose.
Right.
I will put that pressure on him.
So I do want to. I want to kind of go back to this idea that like since he can't wear the jersey,
Yeah.
like I feel like we've joked about that before. Like, oh, I'm not going to race now. Like, especially talking about like the Belgians or whatever. Like, and like, but it's almost like it can't. Like we've just talked about why reasons not race nationals, but it is like kind of also is a reason, right? And like it actually puts a little more emphasis on Bruner, right? Because he no longer has the Pan Am champion jersey, and so like he wants to win nationals, but he also wants that jersey. Like he needs to have that. So that's just kind of a funny thought.
Well, that was, Tone has the European jersey, which is kind of crazy because I feel like he peaked for Euros.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because Inga also has the jersey, and I feel like sometimes you just have those races, right? Whether or not you're peaked or it's just the way other factors shake out. Like, yeah, Tone has the jersey, and it's like,
well, and like I was talking to Ethan and just sort of joking about it. Well, do you think that Thibaut kind of threw the race because he'd rather wear the Belgian kit than the Euros kit? Ethan threw cold water on that, saying there was no way he threw that sprint. He was all in. He's like, the way you, and I think this is in mountain biking too, but especially in cyclocross, the way you throw a sprint is that you lose your pedal.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to do that.
And he was clipped in the whole time and going. Yeah.
Is that also like when you can't win, but then you want to save face?
That's more what I mean. It's like when you already know it's done. That's when you're like, whoops. That was I think I know I don't want to throw any shade at Nico, but Nino, excuse me, in mountain biking. But when he lost to Sam Gaze and was like, I pulled out of my pedal in South Africa, I was like, you weren't winning that sprint, my man.
Okay, well, we've moved on to nationals.
Yeah.
We're actually at 52 minutes, so let's
Should we
continue.
talk about this course? We had our inside guy.
Inside guy out there getting the footy. Tyler Cloutier sent us some very grainy, it's like Zapruder-esh film of the course. And actually I watched it, Tyler, so thank you. And it's different. Like
I love the starting in the opposite direction.
Yeah, no, so
I don't know how it's going to play out, but just on paper, I'm like, oh, what a cool idea.
Yeah, going up. So they're going to go. What do we? The Stonehenge, right? They're going to go up Stonehenge. So they're going backwards, essentially over the entire course.
I mean that thing is like the weird thing about Fayetteville for cyclocross is it's on camber. A lot of it, because they use sort of the mountain bike stuff, and so you're going to have the sprint to that uphill Speedway Daytona-esque turn and then another one. So you got two of those, like two almost U-turns in a row, and then you're looping your way around. It's super wide, but at the same time, in these big fields, that's going to be a mess.
Huh. Is that a good, I just had an idea. Is that a good, let that top-down drone shot of that?
Yeah, that's going to be sick. Yeah.
Can you fly a drone there?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So they kind of go backwards, and the other big thing is that they do go up the stairs, the big stair feature, but they don't just go down the ramp as they did at Worlds, which went straight down and flew off down to the bottom part of the course. They actually go down, make a tight turn, and come back up, it looks like.
Which has always been built this hill. It was a field. It was perfectly flat. You built this hill, and then you refused to use it. So I'm happy that they did. So, when we went back there, they did start to use it more. But yeah, I like this. I like that.
So that looks good. And then they don't.
Yeah.
Well, I just say they don't just like, they kind of doubled back on itself a lot, and they are using more off cambers. And there's I
Mhm.
didn't know there's like a little like levee on the backside of that lake, that small pond, I should say, that they kind of
Yep.
go up and down. It looked pretty steep, and then when they come back up towards the stairs, they utilize those the levee mounds, sort of that they did use for Worlds a few times, but it looks less straight shots, like you said.
Yeah,
Power
there's some
sections.
sort of up and down sort of ravine up to mounds. I think what you're talking about, those levee sections that they don't use for mountain biking at all. They've never used for cyclocross. They're not going all the way down the switchbacks and up the power line climb, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's the power line climb is not even, it's not there. Like, it's not part of the course.
The other thing I think what that does, just from a venue standpoint, is it compacts that whole top area near the finish line, and you're using that area a lot more. So it's not just go away, go all the way down, come back. Like, I think the action's going to be there, so it'll be a fun one just to watch and be able to see a lot more of the action.
Yeah, I mean, that's I gotta say, looking at Tyler's his course preview kind of got me excited for nationals. So
Nice.
Folks, if you're thinking about going, I think might be, if you're sitting on the fence, like, I think it's going to be a different course. I mean, than Worlds, so probably worth checking out.
So we will, as of right now, have new, not new first time necessarily, but new champions for our elite men and elite women. Strohmeyer's not going to be there. 99.9% sure Vita's not going to be there.
Oh, that I didn't know. Okay.
Maybe she'll sign up. I don't see it happening. I think she is just starting to train now. If you see her on social media, she just got onto her cyclocross bike, and it seems like she's doing it predominantly on the road.
Okay.
So I haven't talked to her. I haven't asked her, but I will put money down that she does not show up for nationals.
Right. So women's first time national elite champion will happen
for sure,
unless somebody who was a previous champion, unless Clara signs up.
Yeah.
Or Katie Compton.
Yeah. And no Katie Klaus this year. So I think your favorite right now has to be Lizzie Gonzalez, especially coming after that Pan Am win.
Yeah, big Pan Am win. Yeah.
But some interesting moves in there that we, clocked with the Sarkisov sisters, who are both U23 racers, will be racing up.
Yeah, in the elite field. That's exciting.
Catherine had a really nice race at both at Tábor and then also Flamanville, up there in the top 20 in the elite. So that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's cool. We've got some. We also have. I was just thinking, there's anybody racing up in the men's? Nothing too big, but yeah, I mean, that's cool. We like this, right? We like. I mean, this is what Vita did last year. And I'm sure Lizzie's like, "Well, come and bring it." Like,
for sure,
I'm ready. Like, let's go. So,
is what about like Mia and Kaya? They're in the U23s. Yeah.
Mia, Kaya.
We won't pressure them to go up, even though they could compete for the elite title.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, and Mia, Kaya, and McKenna Kellerman, who she's won this year. Didn't she win DCCX, right?
She won DCCX. She was she did not win DCCX.
She got second.
Lydia won, and I think
that's right.
Kaya got second. She won Boulder. She won day two. She won day 2 of Boulder.
Gosh, I should know this, but
McKenna is a dedicated mountain biker, and I tried to kill her with kindness in Boulder and convince her to race more cyclocross, but she is rightfully so concentrating on mountain bike and racing.
Well, at least she's still doing nationals, though.
Yeah, she's doing nationals. So, yeah, but would love to see her race in Europe in cyclocross.
All right. Well, I mean, I feel like we can maybe dive into some more of the younger races next week.
Yeah.
But anything else?
You going to nationals, Boedi?
Thinking about it. Should I go, folks? Should I go? Tell me. Should I do it?
Yes.
Post
tell you yes.
Stories.
How long of a drive is it?
It's 9 hours.
All right.
So it's basically
right on the edge.
Yeah, it's kind of. When I was younger, that would be just not a problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, well, here's the thing, Bill. Here's the thing. We're at the end of the podcast, so we can talk about this. I'm caught up with Chasing Scratch. I have three episodes left, so I'm to the present. I'm in the present year.
Whoa.
So like, I can't just binge.
I've fallen off. I was like just crushing episodes, and I think I'm still like at the end of season 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like, long way back.
So you know what? Here's the thing. If somebody, listener, I need a new podcast to listen to. I don't really want it to be cycling. Do you have anything that's like, I would like a comedy podcast, something funny? You know, a podcast I used to love was Reply All. I thought that was a great podcast. Just love the topics, the way they investigated, reported things. If anybody has a good podcast like that they can recommend that I can binge on my way up to Fayetteville and on the way back.
Blank check.
It's
movies, but they're good and they're funny. But you know, it might be an acquired taste. I don't know. Give it a try.
You're saying it's about movies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Blank check. All right. That's one. Okay. So everybody else, give me some podcast recommendations. Yeah.
It'd be cool to find something serialized like Chasing Scratch. That's just kind of the.
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of that story. Yeah. I mean, Serial. Is there a season of Serial that I haven't listened to? A couple people got back to us on the podcast. We asked questions and they got back to us. And one, I was like, what do you call the wheel salute? So honor guard, color guard. What was something else? There was another name.
Gauntlet.
The gauntlet. Yeah. I still feel like we as cyclocross or just cycling in general, but no, let's stick to cyclocross. Need a more specific term. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is yet, but let's think of it. I mean, because they're knobby tires, right? It's almost like you're going through you know what it's like, Bill? It's like the rider is a bean going through a burr grinder.
Oh wow, yeah.
So something along that.
The espresso salute.
The burr guard.
Timed my coffee out perfectly. Like last day there, used the end of my bean, so it was like weighed in perfect. It was beautiful.
I was going to ask you, how is your new grinder at home, though?
The new grinder at home is amazing. So stoked with that. You know, it was sad that the other one died. You were there to see its death, but the replacement is pretty awesome.
It's pretty nice.
Here's the thing. Here would be my other travel tip, because that's okay. So Ethan is a pro at traveling to races with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's insane how he has his camera bag and then like just a very small bag that he somehow fits all of his clothes and boots and cold weather gear and everything into. And just like the absolute minimum. I try and I still like so overpack, like a huge suitcase and a backpack and my camera bag. And I so want to just like be able to figure out what I don't need. So one thing I've done, I'm trying to downsize all of my cold weather and rain stuff into just 2 pieces. That's my first one. So I got like some new like rain snow pants and jacket, which are smaller. So that's one thing. But the other thing that I realized is like I carry a kettle around with me. Like it's this collapsible kettle. And like in Europe, it's the dumbest thing.
Okay.
You know, you sit there and you talk about it. Like I got like Taylor Jones has the same one. It was like, it's great. It's got a little switch on the bottom so you can go to 220 volts, you know, so it works in Europe, which is like a huge deal for things that draw a lot of energy. they all drink tea. Every place you go to,
Yeah.
every hotel room, every Airbnb always has a kettle. Not in the US. I need it in the US, but not in Europe. So I think I'm gonna risk it and leave that at home when I go for curse period. So that's
I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I want to let you know that I've got back on the Chemex kick.
Nice.
After
Okay.
making pour overs at your house. We sort of had used an automatic Breville drip because of just the way that Emily wakes
you
up.
You need the Chemex because you're not a one coffee guy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not a one guy. No, not at all. But I'm like getting up because I drank the coffee at your house and I forgot what that coffee tastes like. And so I was like, we got a bag of beans in the mail. I was sniffing it and I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be so good tomorrow. I was so excited about my coffee in the morning. Got up and I was like, oh shit, I have to like get the kettle out. I've got to grind the beans. I got to weigh the beans. And I was like, God, this is a lot of work. But then I poured that cup of light roast and it was so tart and acidic. And I was just like, yeah.
Yep.
So
it's the process. You just gotta enjoy the process.
But here's the thing, Bill. I have to have coffee to wake up. So like doing the process, being half asleep.
Yeah. I
sucks.
see that. I get that.
You've seen me in the morning.
Yes. Fantastic. Okay. We will have more answers next weekend to the national, not next weekend, next week when we record, to the Nationals picture. I can actually watch a race this week, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this race in Italy. So
I hope it happens. I hope there's no windstorms. I think Ben's there.
Ben is there. Ben is podcasting.
His return to Italy.
Yeah, I'm glad he was able to get back. I know he's excited, and I hope he shoots more video because last time I made me fall in love with that place. So
yeah. So that'll be good. All right. Well, it was fun. Yeah, and we'll do it all again next time.
All right. See you later, CX Fiends.